Hey everybody, I'm Maggie and we're back on another segment of SRH Access Facebook Live. Today is a very cool day because it is the first day of our Movement Science Lab being open at our Scottish Rite for Children Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Center. And today I'm here with our Director of Movement Science, Kirsten.
Hi, thanks for having us today. We're real excited.
Yeah, this is a really cool space and we just really wanted to give you a tour of what you can expect when you come here and all the really cool technologies that is a part of it.
Right.
Also, this is our number 50 Facebook Live, so it's also
it's a big one.
It's a big milestone. So we're just a lot of firsts.
Congratulations! Yes,
awesome. So let's just start. What's new here? What's going on?
Right. So we have a really large space, and this space was specifically designed for our sports medicine patients. We have a movement science lab on our Dallas campus, but it's smaller and it's designed for walking. So we wanted to develop this space so that it was designed to do sports and running and cutting and volleyball serves for patients who have shoulder injuries. So we made the ceilings really high, the room is huge, it feels like a gymnasium, which is exactly what we were looking for.
That's awesome. That's really great. And just being in here, you just feel like it's very sporty.
Yes, absolutely.
So let's kind of get into some of the technology. We were talking about beforehand, you have 14 cameras. And so
right.
kind of get into details about what's in the flooring, how is this really helping you to analyze our patients?
Sure. So one of the things with sports injuries is that they happen at a really high rate of speed, right? So we have a motion capture system, and that's what you see on these rails around the room. There's 14 motion capture cameras, and here's our patient, DeMarco. He's got markers on him right now. Those cameras don't see him. They only see those markers. And we can develop a three-dimensional model of exactly how he moves when he's doing all these different tasks. So he was jumping off the box. He's going to be leaping forward now. We can analyze how his movement is in 3D, head to toe. We also have special plates in the ground, and you can't see them. They're underneath the flooring. But those plates measure the amount of force he exerts when he's jumping and landing. And that gives us a great idea of how symmetry is, if they're giving the right amount of force on both legs at the same time when he lands, for example. So it's a really amazing tool to get a really good, thorough understanding of what his movement is like.
That's great. So, I mean, obviously you have athletes that come in here from all different kinds of sports. So is that something that you guys are kind of looking at, depending on the sport they play, that's the type of evaluation maybe they will get?
Right. So right now we're focused mainly on research. Mm-hmm. So we've got some studies looking at post-ACL injury. So patients who have had ACL reconstructions or patients who have had concussions. So how well do they return to sport? How quickly can they recover from those cognitive deficits that occur when you have a concussion? We also look at patients with different knee braces who have knee issues, and we're trying to unload parts of the knee with a special knee brace. So we've got a lot of different research projects right now. Ultimately, we'll be able to be a tool to help our physicians with injury prevention. Right. So can we identify things ahead of time that will prevent an ACL injury, for example?
So obviously the bread and butter here is going to be sports medicine, but we know that our general orthopedic needs will also be seen here. So are you guys also analyzing that as well?
Yep, we can do everything that we do downtown in our Dallas campus. Mm-hmm. For the most part, we can do here. So all of our orthopedic patients who come to Frisco can also be seen in a lab.
That's awesome. Maybe talk about a little bit what he's doing right now.
Right now, yeah. So this is a test we're looking at to see how far he can jump, and we're actually looking at the landing biomechanics. So when he lands, what happens at his knee as he lands?
Okay.
So we're trying to get him to jump as far as he can, right, to make it challenging. But we're really focused on him holding that position when he lands, and how does his knee move, and how are the forces in his knee.
And he's pretty lucky because he's the first patient to come through here.
He is.
He's part of history.
He is definitely part of history, yes. So we've seen a number of patients with this protocol in our Dallas campus. So we're familiar with the protocol. We've done it about 20, 30 times now. But he's our first patient here in the lab. This has been a number of years in the making, so it's a very exciting day for us.
Let's talk about what maybe is going to potentially go on the walls at some point. I know you were kind of talking about a projection, maybe something. Yeah. What's down the line for the lab?
Right, so we certainly want to have a way to project onto the wall. So we're going to have a lot of studies where and we have this track outside that can run into the lab, and then the wall will project which direction, for example, for them to cut. Okay. So an arrow will pop on the screen, and we want you to think fast and cut to the left or cut to the right. So having that ability to project right onto the screen big, so it's really
That's
clear
great.
to see. Yeah.
That's awesome. Maybe let's take a walk over here. I know that we have this big screen over here that kind of patients can maybe look at, or really what is the purpose of this?
Sure. So this will eventually be a real-time feed. Today, I just pulled up a trial of him walking already.
Okay.
So this gives you an idea of what we actually see with the computer. As I said, those motion capture cameras are not viewing him as a person. They're viewing this essentially a stick figure, really, of him walking. But we can determine from this exactly how each part of the body is moving. So how is the hip moving in 3 planes, the knee, the ankle? And then you can see these 2 plates that says 1 and 2. We're trying to get him to hit those plates without telling him. He can't hear right now. we don't want him to know about those. That's why they're embedded in the floor and you can't see them.
Okay.
We don't want them to change how they're moving in order to aim for them. But the goal is for him to get those force plates, and that tells us the forces in the body, and we can combine the motion and the forces together to tell you how much power do you generate at your hip, your knee, or your ankle when you're walking or jumping or landing. So when he was doing his landings, he was landing on those plates.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what's the significance? I don't know if the camera can see, but there's the red, blue, and green, different colors. Is there any significance with
Honestly,
that?
red is left and green is right.
Oh, okay.
And then blue is kind of in the middle or upper arms.
Okay.
But yeah, so you can kind of see he almost looks like he has pants on. So the way this works is that we put markers on the skin, but we're really trying to model his bone underneath, right? So those little like blue lines through here in the middle of his legs are just giving us an indication of where his knee joint is, his ankle joint is. Yeah.
That's great. All right, I think let's kind of like head outside. 'Cause
Sure.
this is a really cool part of the lab.
This is an exciting part.
Is, what we have outside. We have this track. That's a cool part of it. And I know you were talking about how you can take these studies and the cameras outside.
Sure, absolutely. So the cameras themselves can come outside. They can go on tripods. We can also mount them to this wall that runs next to the track. This track is the same curvature of a high school track. So we can get pretty good runaway straight ahead speed if they run from the outside and get up to speed in the lab. But this will allow us to actually test kids on a curve, which is kind of unique as well. And then we have access to this amazing sports field. So we can bring our patients out here, we can bring our cameras out here and understand how they move when they're doing their really sports-specific tasks. Like, passing or kicking a soccer ball, or maybe some things we can't necessarily do inside, or maybe not on the right surface. Like we don't have turf inside in our lab now, but we can bring them out here and
make it more real life.
Make it more real life,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's awesome. And they can enjoy this wonderful weather.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, very cool. Well, I think that kind of wraps up our tour, unless you have anything else.
That's great.
I mean, we're so excited that this is open, and we're just so happy, and congratulations.
Thank
This is
you.
a huge, huge thing that's
Thank you.
happening. So we're just look forward to the things to come.
We do have a question.
Oh, we do. Okay.
They asked, how does the data you collect translate into treatment decisions for patients?
Oh.
So that's a great question. So there's 2 parts to that. The first part is that we have clinical referrals. So if you see a patient sees a doctor here on campus and they see a need to do a full analysis, they can send them down to us and we can generate a report of exactly how they're moving and what their forces are and give that back to the doctor, and they can use that in their real-time treatment decision making. So they can use that to define what treatments they do. The other part of that is our research. And we have had several research studies in the past that have directly impacted clinical care. So we compare treatment A versus treatment B to figure out, really which one is providing a better outcome, or is there a difference in the outcome? A lot of times we're trying to show that either outcome is the same. And those studies have directly impacted our clinical care as well. So either way, through our clinical service or through our research.
That's awesome. Well, cool. Any more questions? All right. I think we're
Great.
good. Well, thanks so much, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.